It's down to.
You can just fill out the second sheet.
I believe it's ours.
Okay, I didn't take time to fill mine out.
I thought you knew. See, I said you would then.
Where's my case? There it is.
There's, we'll stick around. Okay. We need to. Oh, that's the work session.
You're not signing your name.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and call this meeting to order. Opening session invocation is gonna be by Ricky Dodson. Pledge of Allegiance is gonna be by Shirley Myers.
Let us pray. Most gracious Heavenly Father, Lord, we just thank you for this great day you give us this day, Father. Thank you for the warm weather and the beautiful sunshine today, Father. I thank you for the life and life abundant you give us every day, Father. And thank you for all the healings you give us. Father, so everything we do tonight will be pleasing first and foremost to you, Father. And everything we do will be in the best interest of the children of Overton County, Father. I thank you for all of our staff and all these board members here today and everyone in this room. I pray for blessing upon their life. Ask you to forgive us when we failed you. For in Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Amen. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, so I'll take a motion for the approval of the meetings from, minutes from the February 18th, 2025 meeting. Do I have a motion? Motion by Ben Danner, seconded by Shirley Myers. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? With additions or deletions to the proposed agenda, we have a item that we've got to add, item number 4 under the new business. Consider approval of Cumberland Rehabilitation Services contract for occupational therapy services. Do I have a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ashley Carr, seconded by Rick Dodson. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Now I'll take a motion for the approval of the March 11th, 2025 meeting agenda.
So moved.
Moved by Mitch Stonecipher, seconded by Ben Danner. All in favor? Any opposed? We have no executive action items, so we'll move right into the consent agenda items. We've got 142 fiscal year 25 math implementation grant revision number 1, 143 fiscal year 25 central cafeteria fund revision number 1, and number 3 Livingston Academy aviation overnight trip to Sun and Fun Aerospace Expo in Lakeland, Florida from April 1st, 2025 to April 4th, 2025. Do I have a motion to approve those? Motion by Ben Danner, seconded by Melissa Savage. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? We'll move into the new business. Number 1, consider approval of the following letters of resignation for Olivia Allen. A motion? A motion by Rick Dodson, seconded by Shirley Myers.
I'd like to say that she's a big loss.
She is.
She can take a whole class of kids that don't know anything and they can draw around it. I mean, it's just
Very
unbelievable.
prudent.
She's always been like that.
Very nice person, I mean, and we will miss her.
We,
Have you heard anything else about the grant that we might get from those artistic people?
I think they've changed the way they're wanting to go about that. They're not wanting to help to fund personnel. They're wanting to go a different route.
All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Move to number 2, consider second reading of approval for the following policies by TSBA. 4.603, promotion and retention. Do I have a motion? Motion by Ben Danner, seconded by
I second.
Shirley Myers. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Number 3, consider approval of the teacher bonus resolution under section 4 of the Educational Freedom Act.
I make that motion, but I'm gonna stipulate too, we ain't participating in none of the rest of that, it's the bonus money.
That's what the resolution
That's what it is, I
says.
know, but I'm gonna make that clear
Yeah, I
tonight.
second that too.
We don't approve of none of the rest of that, we want the money for the teachers.
Motion made by Rick Dodson, seconded by Ben Danner.
And it's a one-time deal. It is a bonus and not a salary raise.
You know when that'll be paid out?
25, 26. So the
But
next
What'd you
fiscal,
say,
one
Crystal?
lump sum,
It's
25, 26, it'll be in the 25, 26
one
year.
lump sum.
So, yes, I think so.
And that goes to every teacher and personnel, you think?
I think it's just the classroom teachers and just the classroom teachers, so I think there'll be several in our district that won't get it. So, you know, that, like administrators, counselors and so forth, sadly, they
That's sad.
Yeah, I don't like that.
don't either.
I don't either.
With you, I don't either.
I thought it would go with everyone that had a teaching license.
It was a little bit unclear, the way it read, you almost thought that anybody that had anything to do with the children, the way it read. And that would be counselors.
Yeah, I wish that's what it was, but
They sent it to us, but we, for some reason, thought it was everybody with a teacher's license.
I've been told differently from that, but I hope you're right.
At that legal training we went to, they was talking about 25% of the teachers in each district probably won't get it. I mean, you know, because they're not in a classroom.
I just thought it was those people that did not work at central office.
That ain't fair.
In contact with the students.
I'd just like to reiterate that, I don't think any of the board members were in favor of the voucher program. I think it's a negative for rural communities. And I think that the fact that we're having to vote to approve a resolution endorsing the bonus is just kind of a back in your face from state officials, because we did oppose it from the beginning, which I think is very counterproductive. But, I'm glad the teachers are gonna get a bonus from it, but they could have given it without us having to pass the resolution.
Right.
I agree with that.
All right, all in favor? Any opposed? Number 4, consider approval of the Cumberland Rehabilitation Service Contract for occupational therapy services.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Ashley Carr, seconded by Ben Danner. All, we're spending money on this one.
Did we have this before?
We were, for occupational therapy, we were using a company called Kids First, and they're no,
Yes.
they're no longer doing occupational therapy, so, John Allen with Cumberland Rehabilitation Services was highly recommended to our SPED department, so that's why we went with them.
Switched on.
I wanna say too, they are really good with kids and everything that they do. With any kids.
This new one, actually, good.
Krista, you want?
Yes. William Aston,
Yes.
Ashley Carr,
Yes.
Ben Danner,
Yes.
Ricky Dodson,
Yes.
Mike Hayes,
Yes.
Shirley Myers,
Yes.
Alice Reed,
Yes.
Melissa Savage, Mitch Stonesocker,
Yes.
9-4, 0 opposed, motion passes.
All right, we'll move to OCEA recognition.
Good evening. I was just looking at the state of Tennessee document about the one-time teacher bonus. And in the overview, it says, the General Assembly passed Chapter 7 of Public Acts, approximated funds to provide one-time bonuses of $2,000 to each teacher employed in a K-2 school system, or in a school, for the 24-25 school year. And the definition of teacher is tied to the same definition of existing educator in TSA. So I don't know how they define existing educator in TSA. But maybe it will be enough for everybody, I hope.
I hope it is too.
I hope that it's mixed signals, I don't know.
And we also hope that as time goes around, they'll clarify what they
Yes, they
exactly
will.
mean and everything.
Yeah.
Since they're gonna pay it next year.
Yes, well, and that's another thing, on this document, it says that it's gonna be pushed out in July of 25. So it almost made it sound like it could be paid in the summer if you wanted to, that it didn't have to be on that budget, but I don't care, it's just what the state of Tennessee thing said, and it may not come out at that time. Cause I know the best laid plans of mice and men. off County Blade. And to echo your sentiments about Miss Liddy, all the teachers are so sad to see her go.
Yes.
We understand, but we hate it. And I haven't spoken to a single teacher that isn't just crushed that she's not gonna be here with us, cause we all love her so. So, pass that on for us too. Thank you.
Have any public comment? All right, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
Motion by Rick Dodson, seconded by Ben Danner. All in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Everybody okay with going directly into the work session? All right, I'll bring the work session to order. First thing on the agenda is the softball building facilities, Mr. Reams.
Appreciate y'all letting me come and speak tonight. I'm gonna give each one of y'all over here in a way everybody kinda knows who I am. I know several of y'all's faces, some of y'all's faces I don't know, but. First off, I'd just like to thank the Board of Overton County for letting me come in and speak tonight. My name is Bubba Reams, and I appreciate you giving me the opportunity to speak. I'm here to talk about the high school softball program and improvements to the field and facilities. My daughter is a freshman on the high school softball team, and I've been a part of the middle school softball program on the coaching staff for the last 4 years. In comparison to other softball programs in surrounding counties, our facilities at LA are way behind. And, I mean, I don't know how else to tell it than just to try to propose some improvements and upgrades for our girls. I mean, our girls at LA, they deserve to have the opportunity, just like our boys do at the baseball field, at the football boys do at the football field, soccer, basketball, no matter what sport it is, I think they all ought to be treated the same. And I don't know when the last time something's been upgraded at the softball field, but I've asked and nobody can give me a date. I mean, everybody says 15 years plus. The last time something's been done at the high school softball field. Now, like I said, I may be wrong, but I've asked several people and nobody's been able to tell me on that. But the first thing, I mean, the facility that we currently have is a baseball facility, and it's expected to be used by 4 different programs. High school baseball, middle school baseball, high school softball, and middle school softball. So if you break all that down, that's about 2 nights a week. Versus somebody like Overton or Cookville or Monterey, their girls get to work 5 nights a week. They got their own facilities, they got their own building, they got their own stuff to practice in. So, I mean, I just think it's right for our girls to have somewhere to go and have the ability to go practice when they want to, because right now, if baseball's got it on Monday, on 5th block, I mean, our girls can't practice unless, I mean, if the weather outside's wet, they ain't got nowhere to go. So, the new fence.
Where would this?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you talking about another field?
No.
Still using?
Use the same field,
baseball
we just,
field, just
the high school softball
upgrading
field,
the facilities?
the high school softball field over here at LA.
Yeah.
And I recommend you drive over and look at it, and drive down there and look at the baseball field, drive down there and look at the football field. You'll see the difference. The new fence and backstop netting, our fence has been fixed, I know, every year that I'm over there. I mean, we have to call Mosley or somebody because the wind's blowed it down, or this has fell down. They've got concrete in the left-hand corner holding some of the fence down where it's been poured with concrete. We got rebar bent over. I don't know who done that, but to me, rebar bent over, that's safety issues for the kids. Somebody falls into that on the fence, that's a problem. The backstop, our fence, we're backed up to a cow pasture. Every time the ball goes over the field, it goes in the cow pasture. I got cows at home, I love cows, but I don't want to be chasing softball in the cow pasture. So, with that being said, with the backstop and the net and stuff, just about every surrounding county around here has a net and some kind of backstop on their field. And, I'll have a few pictures and stuff I can pass out to y'all in a few minutes and kind of show y'all examples and stuff like that. And I did get a kind of a rough estimate, on some of this stuff, that we'll talk about down toward the end, but our dugouts, if you put 10 girls in the dugout with a ball bag, that's about all the room we got. Like I said, I carried 22 players in middle school softball. Over half of them had to leave their bag out of the dugout and all their stuff out of the dugout because we couldn't get everybody in the dugout. The dugouts are really small compared to other surrounding fields and facilities. So, and in our concession stands, and I mean, this is minor, but I mean, I think it's a big deal. You women wash dishes, you like washing dishes with hot water, our concession stands don't even have hot water. You're over there playing in March, and it's 30 degrees, we're cooking hot food, trying to serve food for these people that don't get to go home and trying to feed these kids. I mean, we gotta have somewhere to wash our dishes for the next game. And for the next, because middle school softball, they use the same facility as the high school does. In addition to those needs, there is potential for issues with the boys and girls being in the same facility, as there is a boys basketball locker room that is separated by only one door. There is a risk of girls practicing seeing boys changing in the locker room when that door is open. I mean, there's a need for equitable indoor facilities for girls softball that would alleviate scheduling issues and provide opportunity for advancement of both middle school and high school softball programs. Just a few rough estimates. I mean, I've had some pole barns built the last couple of years, and that's more or less what the baseball facility is. It's a pole barn with some tin around it, minus the electrical work. I didn't ask the guy for electrical work. I just said, just give me a rough estimate on what a 40 by 60 building would be, and he said he could roughly do it, and that's with one man door and a roll-up garage door, about $50-something thousand.
What kind of floor?
Concrete. Yep. And the backstop and concrete, I had a guy come out and give me a bid on a backstop, and they could put concrete wall from dugout to dugout, about 3 foot high. And he said he could do it for roughly $4,000. But like I said, I just got a couple rough estimates on this stuff. And then the netting for the backstop would be roughly $1,700, and that's a facility in Cookville, Diamond 9 Sports. They usually carry all the netting and all that stuff. Of course, the indoor facility would have to have a batting cage, so you know that would add more price, and electrical and stuff like that. But I just, like I said, I've had several people tell me they wanted to come and talk to y'all about this. Nobody's ever done it that I know of since I've been here. So I figure the squeaky wheel gets the grease, so I'm gonna be the first one to come over here and talk to y'all. But like I said, I don't know what we can do and what we can't do, but I would appreciate it if y'all would please consider this. And just think about these kids, and like I said, it may not happen when my daughter's here, and that's fine. For the kids that's coming up, girls fast pitch softball is one of the fastest growing sports in America.
Yeah.
I mean, it's on the rise, and for our programs to be competitive and compete, I mean, we need these facilities and need this stuff to train these kids. So I appreciate that, and if there's any questions y'all got.
But Bubba, do you know if there's room next to the locker room to put that facility there?
There is.
Cause I know the backside where that road goes to the baseball, that's Dr. Mason's as soon as.
Correct.
And actually our road's probably on his a little, but.
Yes, just prior to the locker room and the road that comes around, you could put it there, or we could put it out in front of the girls' locker room and dugouts.
Okay.
That area right there.
Okay,
Yeah, I've measured in 2 different places.
okay,
And I mean, there is room to do add-ons there.
okay.
Septic might have to be moved, if we put it right beside the locker room. But, I mean, that's no big deal. I've talked to, some guys that do septics, and they said that wouldn't be no problem. They just have to perk it and make sure it perks where they move it to.
I mean, I've been over, I know I've been to some games, and helped me work on the field a few times, it does need upgrading.
Yeah, and that's the truth right there. Players, coaches, and even board members been over to help us. I mean, we work on that field all the time. We had a guy 2 weeks ago bring 2 skid steers, a mini X, and brought 4 of his guys, and they built a French drain behind the back of the field to try to keep the water off the field. I mean, the water just floods the field. And when it floods the field, then here comes the gravel, because our parking lot's gravel instead of concrete. But like I said, I know that would be nice too on the upgrades if we can get it concreted around through there, because a lot of these facilities where the bleachers are, everything's concreted and you don't have to worry about that. But, I'm gonna give y'all a few pictures to kinda give y'all an idea. I'll let them start right here with Ben. I kinda put a few notes about it, that way you know what you're looking at when you're looking at the pictures. But please, just, y'all are in town, you live here, take a ride over at the softball field. And, hey, come and support us one night, come watch us play. You got a good program, you got a lot of girls that love softball, and, they would love to have you there, they'd love to have you support them.
Mr. Reams, thank you for bringing this to our attention, and Mr. Elman here will get, on this and see what we can do and where we need to proceed with this right here, and then we'll have some further discussion on it and see what we can do.
And, something else too, I mean, I know our coaches ain't here tonight, I'm sure they'd love to be here with us. They were told probably not to be here. So, I don't know who told them that, but they were insisted that they probably didn't need to come to tonight's meeting. So, but I'm just telling you what I'm hearing, and I don't know nothing about Title IX, but that everybody I've talked to about this, like I said, I don't know nothing about it, that's why there's somebody here who probably does, but I don't know much about Title IX other than just the girls deserve it to be treated exactly like the boys do.
Right.
And their
Should be
facilities
equitable.
and stuff like that,
Yeah.
so. Just like I said, please consider that, and thank y'all for letting me come talk.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you for bringing it to our attention, and we will research this and get into it, and then we'll go from there.
Alright, thanks.
I wanted to ask, is there a division of, labor, like our maintenance, is there any help for them from us? I mean,
With our money,
uh-huh,
we go over there and help with issues as we become aware.
as they come up.
As they
Yeah,
come
I mean,
up.
maintenance is coming to help when stuff's going
I
on.
thought we was gonna combine one, Myra West was there with TCAT, they was supposed to come and build us some walls.
Right.
The concrete walls around each dugout, up 3 to 4 foot high, could have 3 foot, I think. It never did come through.
I remember that.
That's been 2 or 3 years ago, though.
I mean, if building trades would build it, all we'd have to do is come up with the money.
Yeah,
And that was
I
putting
mean-
the net, we figured in the net or something at that time whenever they talked about building the wall.
Right.
Now that you say that, I believe Mr. Mosley had talked to someone, even recently. Was you, okay, about if we paid for the materials and
yeah.
getting the work done, so I'm glad you.
What about grant? Is there grant money for stuff like that?
If there's grant money, I don't know.
Okay, I didn't know,
Yeah,
I'm just asking.
So we could help
We need
with
to hire a grant writer, what we need to do.
Write a grant?
A grant writer will pay for themselves.
Mr. Reeves, I'd like to make a comment.
Yes, sir.
Regarding your comment about the coaches not encouraged not to come, from my perspective, no one should ever fear coming to the board to advocate for their program.
That's right.
From my perspective, I would have encouraged it myself. So,
I hated to hear that too.
I think this is, now that it's out there, it's doable, we just gotta figure out who will help us, who we need to talk to, what maintenance can do, what we're gonna celebrate, some money.
I'll tell you.
So is that something that y'all can communicate back to the coaches, or, I mean, I know you probably don't wanna just talk to me, I'm just nobody, I'm just a parent, so. Is that something you would communicate with the coaches?
As
If we can
soon
get
as we
something like
find
this
out
done?
what we can do, that's what we'll do, is we'll communicate back to the administration, coaches, and we'll go from there and see what we can do, and we'll keep you in communication with it also.
And you,
I appreciate that.
So as soon as we find out what we can do and how we can proceed with this right here, we'll be in contact with you, administration, and the coaches.
Okay, thank you so much.
Does that sound good to everybody?
yeah, there's a bunch of girls that have gone to college, nice colleges on a softball scholarship. I mean, it's a great program.
Yes, ma'am.
What kind of deadline I mean, I know that Bubba had already said 2 years ago they were talking about them doing that. What kind of deadline, what kind of a checks and balances thing, what kind of deadline do you think that you'd be able to find out something like that? That way we wouldn't be waiting 2 more years to hear about it.
We're gonna get on this, we're gonna go start looking into it, so it won't be 2 years, there won't be 2 years.
What is the season for the girls this year?
The
When-
season?
Yeah, when does the season start?
First practice is February 1st,
Yeah.
and district tournament is in May.
Okay.
Folks got a game tonight.
So,
Yeah.
can we bring like
Y'all can
something
keep
up
going.
next
I'll
meeting
take
and
them
see
back
if we
away.
can
That's fine.
do something with this?
We'll find out
Yeah,
what we
I've
can
got-
do, and we'll put it back on the work session, so we can do that, and
Yeah.
then, so that way we know exactly what we can do and go from there.
Okay.
If that is enough time for us to get everything together with that, then we'll have it on the work session, and then we'll do it by the meeting. So nothing will probably happen this year, but we will move forward with what we can do, beginning next year,
And when you say next year, like next
school year.
School starting, so.
Yeah.
So
Summer would
August.
be a good time, maybe some of our businesses would donate some to.
So we'll go from there and start this moving along, and see what we can do, and go from there. Yes.
And the back of the fence in the outfield, we put a new, windbreak on the fence there now. And then it come up windstorm. And it's just about took down the left side. And, I went out there and looked at it, and, it's rusted. It's about to break down, and like what Bubba was saying, there's metal fence posts, and I feel that's the only thing that's holding it up right now, but I mean, it's a landing in right now, and I didn't know how that was gonna lead, they could fix it, because what's the safe way? I mean, there really ain't. So, I mean, that's, the whole entire softball field is needing some attention, guys,
And that's what we'll do, is we'll get on that and start researching what we need to do, how we need to do it, and a timeline for getting everything done, so that we can get it completed and go from there. So just as soon as we find out that, we will be back in contact with everybody, and we'll have it on our work sessions for our meetings, and we will, we'll move forward from there.
Is there any way maintenance could do, is that where the
And I
players
think
are at? that
they've
fence?
been, we let them know about it, and I think they're gonna fix it.
I was gonna say, that need to be fixed while the season is
Right.
going, if it's leaning in where the kids is at, I mean, that needs to be something that's done before, that's what I
I'll
want.
mention that in the morning, I'll mention that.
Okay.
Do that.
All right, we're gonna move to number 2, the 5-year plan technology update. Brent Thrasher.
Hello, everyone. The part of the 5-year plan is wanted to touch on the hot points, and won't go through the entire report that I provided everybody in the packet, but just wanted to kind of summarize what I like to think of these as 3 main categories. The first being our programs and services. So we've been, over the years, of course, been doing a lot of work to evaluate the programs and services that we purchase as a district, and make sure that we're only purchasing what we need, and getting the most out of those programs. And so, so I kind of touched on like the dark fiber, Schoology, our student devices, and our Microsoft licenses. And those are all areas that we've kept costs down. We've decreased, reduced the number of licenses that we've purchased in order to save the district money. Another area is the hardware and devices that we procure. We've done a lot of work to, of course, only purchase the things, the areas of need, but also look at the devices and really look at what areas that we could save. Like, for example, the Chrome management licenses. That was one that saved us a lot of money over the years. We're able to manage those devices with our what's included with our Microsoft licenses through an MDM called the Intune. So we were able to cut that cost completely out, and it saved us a lot of money over the years. And through the installations that we've done, I've included that in this, report as well. So we've been able to, our department, you know, really talented, crew, and they can do a lot, and they've been able to work and save the district a lot of money in doing installations ourselves on some of these large projects, like the intercom installation at Livingston Academy, and installing security cameras at some of our facilities. And that's really, you know, gone a long ways to reduce the total cost of the project and buy more equipment instead of putting that into labor expenses. And then the third and final group of these is just the apps and services that we've been able to do in-house. So some of those are like the inventory management app, a door security app where we scan the doors of the outsides of our buildings and check to make sure those are locked and secured. And also a threat assessment managing app. Those are all areas that we were looking at products, and I gave like the prices for those. Those are things that we would probably just had to purchase because you know, there are needs, you know, definite needs for the district and things that are required, like the threat assessment. But you know, fortunately, we're able to build those things with Power Apps, and that's been able to save us a lot of money over the years. So that was the third major area. And then with all of that in mind, I wanted to bring up part of the, as per the 5-year plan, bring up some areas of need that I see that the board, I would like the board to consider. The first is a content filter. Of course, our district has a content filter to be CIPA compliant, but the needs has evolved over the years. Our students are pretty crafty and they can find ways around content filtering by using things like proxies and VPNs. And that's something that a more advanced filter would be able to help us ensure that our students are on task and only able to get to you know, appropriate content. And also a content filter would help our teachers have tools to guide and steer their class. They are challenged with distractions in the classroom, and I feel like technology introduces more distractions. Unfortunately, it does a lot of good, but also there's distractions that it introduces. So this content filter would also give teachers tools to guide students to only like work on study island if that was the activity for the day. They could block all the other sites and not have to call IT and put in a ticket or a request for that to be blocked, and it would be only their class. So that class could block YouTube or block, you know, everything but study island, but then the next class could actually be using YouTube because they're doing it in a, you know, it may be a social studies class where they need to show YouTube video for the students. So that's something that only an advanced content filter can do, and that's something that in the past we've actually had a content filter with LineWise, but the funding for that was through ESSER, and of course, as you all know, that those funds have ended. And you know, this is something that we're wanting to look at working into our budget, and so that's an area of need for sure.
Or is that something like GoGuardian or something where the teachers can have complete control?
Yeah, they can see
block
what.
them out, and then it'll send an alert to the administration when, I know, it'll send an alert to administration that they're on a flagged activity or something like that. So that's what you're talking about for
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, and it also gives reporting of what all the students have been to, so if there's a discipline issue, so that way that can be utilized as well, so, yeah.
What would that upgrade cost?
The pricing that I've got has been around $20,000, is how much and that would be yearly.
One-time fee to upgrade to that, or is that annually?
It would be annual.
And
Yeah. And that would be for the entire district for kindergarten through 12.
is that E-ratable?
Unfortunately, content filtering is not. Unfortunately. I feel like it should be though. You know, they require us to have content filtering, but they won't fix it. The other thing that I wanted to bring up, would be, our student devices. Of course, we're very fortunate and very grateful that the board has allocated money for, purchasing, student devices yearly and teacher devices. So right now, we're upgrading the 5th grade and the 9th grade, student devices on a yearly basis, and those devices carry through on a 4-year cycle, all the way up to, 8th grade into 12th grade. And those prices are only going up, unfortunately. I'm already hearing from vendors that tariffs are impacting the prices, and so they're, of course, having to raise their prices and having to go back out and get quotes more, quickly than we used to. Usually quotes would be good for, months. Now, every time I put in a couple orders, and they're saying, well, we need to, they went up on the price again, so we've had to go back for that. So that's something just to consider, that in that area, we'll probably have to look at increasing that with time. Another area of need is infrastructure. I feel like that's just an ongoing, area that we do need to always think about, putting in, upgrades. So each year we do utilize E-rate funds to do what we call category 2, upgrades. So that's like our access points, it's the wiring in all the buildings, the switches, and connectivity. And so I put together a package this year that would cost $45,000, and of course that's before the E-rate discount. So the district would only be out the $9,000 of the remainder there. And this would improve access points. We'd be putting new access points in Livingston Academy and repurposing the ones that are there to improve some of the other schools that have lower capacity, and it would put in Wi-Fi 6 capability devices in LA. And then last is intercom systems. That's one of the things that I mentioned in the projects that we have done, but I do see that as a need across the district. We have several schools that have aging systems that are probably, need to be repaired. And I feel like if we might think about a plan where we will do maybe a school each year, and then we can work toward replacing those systems. And I'd like to do something similar to like what we have done at Livingston Academy, at Rigman, and Livingston Middle School. And it's one that integrates with our phone systems, so those schools, they can go to any phone in that building, they can dial an extension, and then they're paging an overhead page, or they can page into individual rooms. And that's just, I feel like that's a safer system, whereas these older systems, the head unit is in the office, and so the only way to page from that type system is go to the office and page. And so we're seeing that, those systems are, it's just not as loud as it once was, and just reliability is a concern there. And we're being told, that we can't buy parts for those systems, and so servicing them is another concern. So, but I do want, I kind of feel like maybe around $20,000 we did Livingston Academy over the last summer for $25,000 was the hardware, and that's a very large and complex system. So I feel like the other schools we could probably do, for less than that. And, our technicians was able to do that work. So if we did it, 1 year, maybe that might be a good strategy in upgrading the rest of them, and it not being such a big project at once. So, but hopefully, I feel like a lot of this is successes from our department. I feel like our team's doing a lot of good work, and they're helping out, and I'm proud of them, and appreciate all the support. So
I'd just like to say that I really appreciate all your hard work and trying to save us money every place you can. Unfortunately, we all got $90 what's ruling us right now. If we had all the money we needed, Bubba wouldn't have to be here asking for this. But it's just not there, and it's even gonna get tighter, I'm afraid.
We'll never both let you go, Brent.
I told him that
He cannot.
We'll both know we can't leave.
And some of them, several schools are being added on to, so that might be if we're going to do a school, whether that works better as the new rooms come along or not,
Yeah,
but you can figure that out, can't you?
yeah, we can work that in.
When we run into a problem, we go to Brent, he does figure it out. But everyone, he's covered this, it's taken a minute, but he's covered this awfully quick. There's a lot of really good information in this. He and I went over this, and, if you're wanting a little reading, these 4 pages, there's some good information in that. And Brent, we certainly appreciate all you do for us.
Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Thank you all.
Alright, we'll move to, transponder transportation software update with Jennifer Langford.
Good afternoon, guys. A couple of years ago, we put advertisements on our buses for us to be able to do GPS on the bus and routing software. If you don't know what the routing software is, it would help us at the bus garage tremendously. It's when you build routes, we can do for regular, everyday routes that affect every single school day. We can build routes that do for summer programs, for your after-school programs. It does so much more than what just people think it does. We can put in there that, like, roads that we deem not safe. That way that the bus knows not to go down that road. Where cutoffs are. Noah Henson has been with us for almost 30 years. He's talking retirement. Me and Jason both know, a lot of the routes and stuff for us, but we need something documenting where these cutoffs are, where Livingston cuts off from Rickman, or Rickman cuts off from Hillham, that area for future generations. The GPS is, they have it where you can do plug and go, you just plug it in the bus, or you can do hardware. Hardware costs a little more expensive, and it's tied to that bus. Plug and go, if that bus breaks down and we don't have one for a spare bus, pull it, you put it in another one, and you're ready to go on that bus. It reads just the same. After a driver runs a route about 3 to 4 times, it takes a general overlook of everything, and it shows me how many stops that driver's made, it shows the miles, the time he was on the route, all that. There's several add-ons that you can do with just transponder, just GPS and stuff. We can have like 1 or 2 tablets, so if we have a sub driver come in and he doesn't know the route, he pulls the tablet that morning, he puts it on the bus with him, it speaks out loud to him. He does not have to look at a screen driving down the road, it speaks out loud, it says, turn here, this is a stop, turn here, here's your next stop. So it's really helpful for a sub driver, especially like we've got one that's from Alaska. So, I mean, he does not know roads from here for nothing, so, it would help him, it would help anybody that was subbing, cause it's hard to sub, it really is. If you've never drove a sub route, it's very hard. Some of the other add-ons that, they've got, parent house. Big thing, because we have ThrillShare right now that we're using. A lot of my parents will call and say, I didn't get a message. Well, it's tied to our Skyward. Skyward only allows them to put an AM bus and a PM bus on, and that's it. I've got students that live maybe with one parent one week, they live with another parent the next week, or they may ride this bus one day, they may ride this one the next. So with the parent app, they get as many addresses that they have to go to, we can put that in there for each student. On top of that, like if you have a new student comes in, your school calls me and says, hey, you got a new student, this is their address. Well, when I pinpoint it, I can send an email, a push notification, a text message to that parent, telling them what bus number they're gonna ride and what their general pickup time is. Cause a lot of times, the way we do it right now is we pick up the phone, we call the driver, hey, what time do you pick this kid up? Well, it's roughly this time. So this gives like a pinpoint thing. It also will send notification if the parent chooses to set it up, they can set up like a thing that says, your bus will be there in 5 minutes. So if it's a cold, rainy, nasty day and the kid don't need to be standing outside, they can say, okay, the parent says, oh, bus will be here in 5, they're looking out the window, it's coming. So it kind of gives them a little, not having to be outside in the weather kind of thing as well. The parent can also send us messages back, like let's say my child left her coat on the bus or her backpack on the bus. She can push a notification to that driver or to us saying, hey, my student left her backpack on the bus or whatever, and then we can reply back and say, well, can we meet you or whatever to that point. Another one, which is my favorite, is Trip Finder. Trip Finder is amazing. If you've ever dealt with a trip, it starts at the school. The teacher decides where they're going. They go to the front office, usually when the trip coordinators calls me, they say, hey, we want to take a trip to this, do you have a date available? Well, with Trip Finder, this takes that out. There's a calendar on there for them. It shows, hey, this date's blacked out for some reason. There's too many trips already, because May, I booked May already. I can't send another bus out because I don't have the drivers for it. It will also send it email to the principal for approval. Once he has approved it, if it needs to come in front of Dr. Holman, it'll send him a notification, he signs off on it, then it comes to us. It will also send notification to your cafeteria people saying, hey, second grade's gonna be out for the day. That many students is not gonna be in there, you need to adjust your food. I need 6 bag lunches for this trip also. It's gonna notify them. So it takes a lot of the paperwork, a lot of the stuff like that we've had to waste a lot of papers. It takes 6 to 10 pieces of paper to do a trip. I mean, that's a lot by the time it gets to us. And then the last one, driver apps. Our drivers, they're supposed to do a pre-trip every morning before they get on the bus. They're supposed to make sure that all their lights work, all their equipment on the bus is working correctly, their tires are, up to par, all that. They can do that straight from this app. And then fleet maintenance on top of that, say, I get up in the morning, I do my pre-trip, my headlight's out. It sends a notification to the bus garage, it says, hey, Jennifer done her pre-trip, her headlight was out. Well, when they go in and they fix that, it puts a record on my bus, and it says, this was done to this bus. And then, like if we can tie our inventory into that also. So it will give us a notification, like if we have 3 headlights left and we need to order more, it'll send a notification, hey, you're about out, you need to order more. So we can keep up with all of our inventory as well.
That's great.
So, yeah.
So it keeps up with the history of the bus? Like
Yes, you can pull
what all
reports.
has happened to that bus?
Yes,
that
for
transmission trouble with
the
that bus?
whole service time of that bus, you can pinpoint everything that has been done to that.
If the bus breaks down, it'll send a message back.
Yeah,
exactly where
if
it's
it throws a
broken.
code or anything like that, it will send it to the bus garage saying, hey, this code, it's showing a code.
That's great.
It's a nice software.
Yes, it is, it very much is.
And what was the cost?
With all, Ricky will ask.
Now, I'll verify something first. Signs that they put on the buses started in 2015. It
Yes.
raised $139,000. That's what this, it ain't gonna cost us nothing. That's the money them signs is generated to buy whichever program that we see fit to buy.
I did go ahead and talk to 3 different companies. We like TransFinder the best. And they all 3 agreed that if you want to sit down and do a demo with them and them show you how it works as well, they said they'd be more than glad to sit down and do one with everybody. TransFinder, I know, Ricky had some, I don't know if he handed it out to you. The total cost, once they get a GPS, cause those that he sent us didn't have GPS in it. What's the total cost with the GPS and everything? If we go with Samsara, it's $27,155. For the first year, and then, with, Zonar is $42,000, which those are more hardwired into your buses, they're not the plug and goes, that's the reason your cost is a little more, where it's tied to the bus. So you wouldn't have to, like, if the plug and go, you could pull, and you wouldn't have to buy each year, like my 105 that I drove for 8 years is fixing to come off the route, if it had the GPS in it, when it come off the route, next year, we just pull it out and go on. You would have hardwired to that. And then, the yearly cost after that would be $19,340 for Samsara, and, well, it's pretty much the same thing for both the Zonar too.
And how many buses put them on every bus?
I had to do a quote for 30, just a rough guesstimation. I said I'd rather do it high, cause I think we've got 22, 25 buses, something like that, that's on the road every single day. So, I had them do 30 just to.
And the mobile device you're talking about pulling out, if that bus is gonna be broke down, you're waiting for an engine for a month, you just pull that out, put it on the oven.
Yes,
So
think that-
would this be a lease for these devices, or we purchase them?
We purchased them.
And then there is an annual fee?
Yes, the GPS runs off of each tower, and that's the reason the cost is a little bit higher, because it's not set to like Verizon or T-Mobile or something to that. It is tied into all cell phone towers, so it should pick up anywhere you go.
And what kind of, like software, when you automatically get software upgrades?
Yes, that's in the
or
price
updates
with
when they
this,
come?
and we also get 6 months training. Like your teachers with the GPS, they can pull up and see buses if they're gonna be late or whatever. We get, there's so many admin, on that. I'm not sure exactly how many. He was supposed to check with me and get back with me on it. But we get so many admin sign-ins, and then after that, like, we get unlimited for like the drivers and stuff like that.
But they do a lot, they give you a lot of training on this stuff, they make sure that you know what you're doing.
You get 6 months, with TransFinder, you get 6 months. One of the other companies I talked to, they only give 3 months.
Would this be ready by next year?
TransFinder talked like, yes, so they could have it,
By the time we go back to
yes.
school?
TransFinder told me once we, with this, he could send once we got it approved and everything, they would send over the contract. Once we signed the contract, they would start doing the software. Once the money was released and we paid for it, then that's when they would start sending us the GPS devices. But yes, we can start this immediately to get going towards, and that was mine and Jason's goal when we talked about it. We would like to have it set up.
That way, we don't have to, that way, right now, we have to look at and study all these routes at least every 3 or 4 years, cause it gets so out of whack. This will set it up to where you can go in and say, I want X amount of children or X amount of miles on this route, and it automatically sets it up. The only thing we have to actually do ourselves is go in there and set our cutoffs for each school.
So that'd be a $6,800 annual payment, then, exactly, I'm reading that right? 1 year term license.
That's for the software, yes.
After the first year.
Yes, and these have, like, I can get the copies of this to you.
I meant to read it, I forgot it.
Yeah, we was kinda crammed for time, so, I can get copies to everybody of this, and it breaks down each individual price for everything, like, for just the software, for just the GPS systems. And you do not have to buy a whole lot of tablets, 1 or 2, just justifiable, just enough for subs, cause right now we've only got like 1 in, here in Livingston, and I think there's like 1 in Wilson, so.
Yeah.
That would help us for bus inspection too.
Oh,
Yes,
yeah.
yes.
Yeah. And, one of them, it's the, well, I can't remember which one it was, the one that keeps up with, inventory and all that. It's kinda preemptive on your bus servicing and all that stuff. It don't let it get overdue, and if there's a code that comes up on the bus,
Remind you.
Yes.
well, it'll tell you what code.
Code it is.
It'll tell you, hey, this
For that
is what I
GPS.
need to be, taking care of. If I have to go out in the field, or Noah, or anybody has to go out and fix a bus, we have a pretty good idea if it's electrical or something like that, what's going on, what we need to take.
Sounds like a great program.
It would help us a whole lot. We've got a couple of drivers that, we've got one in Rickman right now, he's like, oh, I'm overloaded. This would fix a lot of that, like, as far as buses being overloaded and all that, like, we can draw a radius around it and say, I want all the drivers to run 45 minutes. Or I want 70 students on each bus, or whatever we need. We can set it up and it would build us those routes.
I'd like for us to put that in the zone, I'm sorry.
If one will say $6,800 a year for the annual fee, $6,800.
It's for the software, yes.
And then the program itself is.
With the Samsara, with Zonar both, it's about 19, and that's with the coverage. And the GPS systems are live, like they will pinpoint every 7 seconds they update.
I'd like for us to put that on the agenda next meeting.
What we'll do on there right there too is we'll let Dion check budget wise, everything that we have that we can do and everything there. And then we'll go about getting it on the next meeting agenda and go from there. So we'll get all the information together with it and go from there.
Thank you, Jennifer, very much for, I could never said what you said. Thank you, Jason. Appreciate what you do.
All right, we'll move to our next item on there, which is discuss the director of school contract. When, I got to looking at this contract, and the renewal time is up actually in April, so we had to start discussing the contract to see how we wanted to move forward with that. because if we didn't give any notice before the April meeting, then it was set to let the director know that, we would not be renewing their contract. So that's the reason that we're on the work session today with this meeting. You have two contract of employments in your folder. One is the O contract of employment, that is the one he's currently serving under. The next contract of employment is one that I have proposed that we go to. A lot of the stuff is basic in here about professional certifications, duties, and all of that. The main change that is on the contract that I gave you all as the proposed contract, under number 4, which is the compensation, the compensation was moved to $108,000. How I'm gonna explain that to you all is that the $108,000 is come from the amount that he was currently making, and it would be every raise that the teachers have been pushed out over the past couple of years. They equal out to, we moved the teachers from a base salary of $38,000 to a base salary of $50,000 per state mandate. So that is the only increase that's in there. The rest is the contract remains exactly the same. Everything that the work year, sick leave, membership dues, professional growth, medical examinations, renewal of the contract, assumption of duties, performance evaluations, referrals, loyalty, any other contract superseding, all of that stuff remains the same.
And I've got it right here. I've got those right there.
So that's the two contracts that I have there. Like I said, one is the contract that Dr. Holman is currently serving under, and the other is the proposed update. Anyone have any questions so far?
Under the compensation, how do we compare to the surrounding counties?
The surrounding counties, did extensive research with, several of the counties around us. The county below us in compensation wise, they are at $108,000. They have half the number of students that we have. The county above us have about 1,000 more students than we have, but they are, I think it was $120,000 was the one that was above us. Going by an average on every county surrounding us, depending on their enrollment and how much that they are paying their directors, I broke that down. On average, it's $44 per student. If we went by the average and we went to the $44 per student, that would put us moving Dr. Holman up to $129,000 a year. That's going on the average of every school system in Middle Tennessee.
About a year and a half ago, I've done a analysis on it based on the TSBA salary data, and if to be equitable compared to everybody in the Upper Cumberland, ours would need to be right around 112 to be comparable. That was about a year and a half ago.
So I know on this contract, I have talked with Dr. Holman about the contract, and I told him what I was planning on doing with this and presenting to the board today, and he's agreeable with the contract on there as it's stated. And like I said, the compensation amount is just going to be the same raise that we've given the teachers over the term of his contract, plus the raise that we have built in for next year.
Right. It'll make 50,000.
Yeah, so he'll get the exact same bump up, because that was a very important thing that we've been trying to correct over the past 4 years, is to separate all pay scales for the way that they needed to be. So this would give him that bump up, just like we've given all the other teachers, to make it equitable. So I put this on the work session so that everybody could have the contract, they could read over it. It will not be on the agenda until next month. If you have any questions about anything to do with the contract, please direct that to me. We'll have about 30 days for you to read it, go over it. Any questions, I'll answer those for you, and we will go from there. So we will put it on the, board meeting agenda for next month.
How's this work with the evaluations? I know we turned them in today, but I mean, is it based off of that?
It's based off of that, plus the evaluations for the past 4 years on there. Really on this, we've got, an evaluation section here that talks about several of the things that we wanted to do, and I want you all to read over that, so you all know exactly the evaluation section in the contract, what it, is wanting Dr. Holman to focus on. Like, I'll give you one example on here that, the director shall work to advance the board's technology goals. That's why we have Brent here tonight talking about the different technology needs that we have. Another one is the director shall provide a continued focus on early literacy related to the 90% reading goal established by the board. Progress reports of the efforts made to achieve this goal shall be provided to the board at least twice a year. Such reports shall be presented as an agenda item at a regular board meeting. There's several things in there that, go in for performance evaluations, and that is the performance review that we did today. It had a lot more than that on there, but that's mandated by the state that we have to review the director of schools on.
Do we have like, somewhere like where we allow our employees to do a certain type of evaluation? Like, I know where I work at, my employees under me have to do an evaluation on me. Is that?
So you're a state school?
Yeah, I work for the state, yeah.
Yes,
but-
you work for the state, I
Yes,
think that's a requirement.
I didn't know if that was something that
We
if
don't
our,
usually do.
We don't
we
have
allow our
anything
staff
set
to,
up there that
if
could
they
be.
work with them they would, you know,
Do the
like mine,
evaluation.
where I'm at a state special school, we have, everybody that I'm over has to evaluate me in my school.
We don't have anything like that now. That is something that we can look into getting set up. Mainly now, right now, the, board does the evaluation of the director, but we can, going forward, we can look at getting that set up so that we can get information from that also, and it can be presented to the board at the same time we do the evaluations for the board members.
Some districts, like principals, do evaluations too of the, I've talked to some other districts and they do that. So, but what I was getting at, like next month when we vote on this, are we gonna have all this information? I mean, we're new, I mean, I've never seen an evaluation till today, you know, I have no idea about any of this stuff on this contract.
Where you have turned in your evaluation today, we will work on getting that information together and everything, and we will let the, board members know what the evaluation shows, and any improvement or anything like that, we'll get those numbers to the board. The way that we've done it in the past is that all the evaluations are taken and it is averaged, and that is the average score that is given out, and that's what we'll send out to the board members to let them know.
So all the information in the contract, not saying if schools fall below a certain level, I mean, we'll know all that next month at the meeting. I mean, like I said, we're in the middle of this. You know, this contract says if schools go below a certain level, for so many years, I mean, you know, we just started a few months ago, I don't know if we've got schools at those levels.
The schools below, different, below those levels on there, it says the director shall take necessary and appropriate steps to ensure all schools maintain a score of at least 3 or above. Should any school fall below scores of 3 or below 3 for 2 consecutive years, a 1-year probationary period shall begin. Failure to raise the scores within the probationary period may result in an action to unilaterally terminate the contract for employment of cause. The main reason that is in there is if we have somebody that completely tanks all of the scores for all of the schools and everything, it gives us an out in the contract,
But is that gonna be, is that information gonna be next month when we vote? Cause I don't know what the last year showed, cause I wasn't on the board, so we're gonna have all that information too, I guess.
We'll look about getting that information to you and all. It is available on the dashboard for the state of Tennessee. They have all of that information on there.
Yeah, but I think that it needs to be presented to each board member instead of each board member having to go and dig it out, like Ben says, they're new. I think we need to make sure that everybody's on the same playing field, same footing for making the proper decision, so.
Okay, we'll get that and get that to the board members also.
Yeah. From the dashboard.
If you're not in education, that dashboard's kind of hard to find, look into.
So we'll go through and we'll get all of that information together and we'll get that out to the board members, and then that way you can review it over the next, month, and we'll have a vote on the agenda. It'll be the very first thing on the agenda for next, board meeting. All right?
Yes.
With that being said, we'll call this work session to an end.
Hey, I got something real quick. So I emailed everybody the Upland Design info on the LA gym bleachers and floors, so you can look over that. We can discuss it later. Then I talked to Brian today. He's waiting on a meeting with TDEC to talk about the septic issues at all the schools. Once he has that meeting with TDEC, then we'll kind of meet up again and go kind of the next step from there. So he's just waiting on the septic from TDEC, so. That's it, sorry.
That's fine. All right, work session has ended.
I sent it from